Únase a nosotros para vivir una experiencia lingüística única, tanto si eres un principiante que necesita incrementar sus conocimientos o un estudiante avanzado que busca perfeccionar sus habilidades lingüísticas. Nuestro programa tiene algo para todos.
Con lecciones dinámicas, ejercicios interactivos y comentarios en tiempo real, el programa Inglés sin Barreras en Radio Nacional de Guinea Ecuatorial, Radio Malabo, te ayudará a dominar el idioma.
No te pierdas esta increíble oportunidad de mejorar tu nivel de inglés y ampliar tus horizontes. Síguenos 2 veces a la semana, los martes y jueves a la misma hora, de 11 horas de la mañana a las 12 horas del mediodía, y embárcate en un viaje hacia la excelencia lingüística.
This is Equatorial Guinea's National Radio, Radio Malabo, and English Without Barriers start now. Education is the backbone of every society, and institutions play a vital role in shaping the future of nations. However, with rapid technological change, shifting social needs, and global competition, the question remains: how can educational institutions enhance performance and better prepare students for the challenges ahead? Today, we're joined by Dr. Vilma Fuentes, a distinguished expert in the field of education, to discuss master classes on enhancing educational institutions and what must be done to drive meaningful reform and innovation. Dr. Fuentes, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Very excited.
All the pleasure is mine, and thank you very much for joining us. Is it your first time on the continent in the country?
It is my fourth time on the continent of Africa, and my first time in Equatorial Guinea. So I'm really delighted to be here. Thank you.
We are so excited having you because we're going to discuss serious issues regarding this matter. We were informed that you are here in the country for master classes on enhanced educational institutions.
That is correct.
So we're going to make it insightful and, of course, dynamic.
That's what I'm trying to do.
So, straight to the point, what does the term master class on enhancing educational institutions mean in practical terms?
In the most practical terms, it means it's a long class. It means we've been meeting for approximately 5-hour sessions to talk about education. And by the way, if you're going to sit in a classroom for 5 hours, whether you're an adult, whether you're 50 years old, or whether you're 5 or 15, you can't just sit in a hard chair and a hard desk. Yeah. Like, I would be the first one to go crazy doing that, right? Our kids can't tolerate that either. You have to make it dynamic. You have to get up. Definitely. You have to move around. You have to talk. So, yes, anyways, the master classes are that.
So could you give us a concrete example of what such a master class look like in practice?
In practice, it means if I think in terms of methodology, like if an alien came down and didn't understand my words and just saw like, what are they doing? It means we begin with me in the front of the class and I'm saying a few words by way of introduction. And then I say, okay, grab that paper, grab the yellow paper, grab the blue paper, start writing it down, start talking to each other about X, Y, or Z, and then let's all get together as a group and share. It also means finding leaders within each group that might be willing to stand up and speak.
Yeah.
So it involves oral communication skills.
That's why you've said earlier that, okay, in this sitting in a classroom in a place for 5 hours,
it's terrible.
Yeah, it's so long. So you have to, as you've said, find ways and mechanisms as to entertain all those people within this period of time.
Yeah, and it could be me singing and dancing. And by the way, I just want to say something about singing and dancing, because I love singing and dancing. I think it seems to me that here in Equatorial Guinea, people love singing and dancing probably as much as I do. I'm hearing it every day on the street. I'm hearing it in the car. It's beautiful. If this is such an integral part of your society, why not bring it into the classroom? You know, it is possible to sing and teach English.
Yeah, definitely in like in preschool. This is the method used, the methodology used. But when it comes to grown-up people, sometimes it looks like, okay, we are not kids, we are not children. How can we do that in the classroom? It means that maybe, just maybe, unfortunately, we hardly understand that this is a way that we can also teach in the classroom.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know how it is here, but in the United States, I learned my ABCs by singing it.
Yes, of course.
And even today, like if you ask me what letter comes after K, I pause and I start singing, right? And that's how I remember it. I learned French when I was young, and I've lost a lot of the fluency, but I remember all the songs that I was taught, right? And so there's something to that. There's something to singing, and it could be dancing too, the didactic approach, the interactive approach. It's really critical.
Yeah. That's great. I've heard some words of you earlier, and what I'm going to ask is maybe so personal, but I think that is quite important for us to know that. You've said that, okay, I'm not here to tell people what to do, and this is quite important, and thank you very much. But in your view, what are the most pressing challenges facing educational institutions today?
Okay, well, let me reiterate my point with my own words.
Yeah.
So I am a foreigner in your country, and I am so thankful that you have allowed me to be here, that the government of Equatorial Guinea has given me a permission and has given me a visa to enter and to have these conversations with you. I don't, at no point have I come here as the American expert trying to tell you what to do. I'm here as an American woman with 20-something years in education to share what we do and suggest a few approaches that people might want to adopt. So everything I'm doing, I'm trying to do it with the greatest of respect. I'm also trying to just learn from you and have a better understanding of what is happening here. So this is day 4, right? My 4th day in your country. I can't say that I understand your educational system well enough to answer your question properly, but the impression the impression I have so far after 4 days here is that there's a really great diversity of educational institutions. There you have the publicly funded schools, but you also have a lot of people, maybe we can call them young entrepreneurs, that have decided, I'm going to start my own school. I'm going to start my own school that will teach people about public health. I'm going to start my own school with a religious foundation that helps form individuals and citizens in society. But it seems to me that so there's just a lot of diversity. I know that in one of the workshops I had, en uno de los talleres que tuvimos, there was one person that said the challenge is that there is a lack of cohesion, right? Falta de cohesión. Lack of cohesion in our system. And I think I understand what they're saying. Like, everybody's doing their own thing. Everybody has their own curriculum. I don't know for a fact, but I'm fairly certain that your Ministry of Education provides some standards.
Yes, definitely.
But it seems that among the smaller private institutions, there's just an awful lot of diversity. And so, to respond to your question, I think that trying to unify this and bring a bit more cohesion is one of the things that can be done to strengthen your system.
Okay. So we're still talking about challenges. Which one do you believe institution must address first to see real impact? You mentioned earlier government institutions and of course private institutions. So you can see that there are a lot of differences. So according to your view.
Okay. So first of all, you are just a few days before the start of school. This is some of the most exciting times of the year. School's about to start. What can we do? Realistically, nobody here, like most of the listeners, are not going to change the entire educational system in your country. It's just not going to happen. It requires another level of intervention. Most people here are probably not going to make some radical changes to their institution. But what they can change is when you go walk into that classroom on September 15th, I think it is. When you walk into the classroom.
That's what information.
I pay attention. I listen.
That's great.
When you walk into the classroom on September 15th, you can control what happens in the classroom. You can control your interaction with students. And so the one thing everybody can do to help, we can all be doing our little part or a big part to reduce the number of dropouts or deserciones, right? Which it seems to be a pretty big problem. And then I stop and think, well, why are so many kids dropping out? And now it's very easy to say, oh, because that kid is stupid, because that kid doesn't study, that kid is a troublemaker. But what's really going on? And maybe there are challenges at home. Maybe there are challenges in society. But maybe your classroom is boring. And maybe your class, I'm just saying, it's possible. Just maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Of course,
that maybe your class is boring. Maybe you're asking a kid to sit in a hard desk and a hard chair for 8 hours. Like, would you be able to do it? Because I wouldn't, right? And so what can we do to make it more interactive, to make it more fun, to make it, what new and interesting pedagogical approaches can we use? And so I mentioned music. Why not? Why not? I when I was in 3rd grade, I had a teacher who used to be a music teacher also before being a 3rd grade teacher. And about once a week, she would bring her guitar to class and she would start teaching us our lessons with her guitar and singing. And we would sing whatever it was, the topic of the day, we would be singing it. Like, I still remember that teacher. I still remember that approach. And I loved music.
Very
and
impactful.
So, you know what? I wasn't bored. I didn't want to leave. I wasn't looking out the window. I was busy singing and looking at my teacher and her guitar. So, okay, is this a comedy show? No, it's not. I mean, actually, and for some teachers, I've heard my children say, oh, I love that history professor because that history professor is funny. And that, so you capture students. So, what can we do to make it more entertaining? And then please, dear Lord, please don't ask the children to just sit there for 8 hours. Let them get up. Let them work in groups. Have them do something interactive. So.
Yes, this is an approach. I'm going to recall something that I personally lived months or years ago. Someone said, the most loud class is not the class where children don't really study. But what we have, unfortunately, is that, students should be quiet, listening. And you've mentioned the word bored, and this is not a real, maybe it's something that we have to change.
Again, I'm reflecting I'm reflecting some thoughts and views that I have, but based on my experiences as a student, as a mother, as a teacher, and I think there's this perception that the people that are the best teachers are like the best disciplinarians. Sit down, be quiet, don't talk, don't touch her. And by the way, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I was like this. The first 2 years I taught school, I was a 5th grade teacher. And back then I thought I was a good teacher, but was I? I don't know, maybe, because I spent a lot of time telling the children to sit down, be quiet, not right. And like, why are you so grumpy telling everybody? Because they're not listening to you, and it's difficult to get everybody to respond. But maybe we need a different tactic of to engage them and make the assignments relevant, so that like, I'll give you an example. We could be in an English class teaching them how to write. Okay. And maybe you're asking them to memorize grammar and just repeat it. What is the proper way of saying it? It could happen in Spanish too.
Yeah.
¿Dónde está el acento?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, of
¿Dónde
course,
está?
yeah.
Okay, whatever. But is that the most important thing? Or what is it that we ultimately want? What is it that, say, the American employers want? I suspect that what they most want is people to communicate.
Yeah.
And so what if we made it more relevant? What if we told a child, hey, let's go outside and look at, I don't know, that public image, that tree, that whatever, write something about your experiences today. Tell me what fun thing you would like to do this Saturday. That might be more relevant and more interesting to them than telling them memorize the grammar, right?
Sit down, stay quiet.
I mean, I'm just saying, and I have to say, for those that are out there and are parents, listen to your children. Listen to your children, because I think that I have become a much better teacher over the years by just being a mother. And I would listen to my kids when they would come home and they would talk about the teachers. Like, oh my God, that teacher is horrible. That teacher. And then you just listen to them as you're cooking dinner or whatever, like what they're saying about the teachers and why they like this teacher, but why they don't like the other one. Listen carefully. And so sometimes, some foundational things is, does the teacher care? The children know. The children know when the teacher hates their job, when the teacher doesn't want to be there, the teacher, right? I remember one of my children used to describe one session of the day as prison. She said,
Really?
I felt like I was in prison. I had to sit there. I couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't do anything. I hate it. I hate it, right? That one session of the day, my child didn't want to be there. She didn't want to be in the prison. Okay, but this other part of the day with this other professor was different. It didn't feel like a prison. Why? What happened there? And did learning still happen? Is it possible to learn if people are talking and if people are moving and if people are outdoors looking at nature? I think so. I know so. I know.
Yeah.
The research shows yes.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm
It's
saying
about,
a lot.
it's good. You're here to share as well your insights. So I think that is quite important for you to say all the things to the audience, so that we can understand that it's not only about being in the classroom, sitting in the classroom, stay quiet, and sometimes even talking is a challenge, because instead of why are you talking, who. And you send, maybe the teacher send the child out, which is not proper. Let's talk a bit about traditional and innovation versus innovation. Let's say, how can institutions balance traditional with innovation in their teaching and learning practices? Maybe we've talked about this a bit, but we can now go deeply about this issue.
Yeah, well, there's many different ways to be innovative, and first, I think we need to be grounded and we need to understand our own culture and our own reality. So what's innovative in the United States might look very differently than what might be innovative in Equatorial Guinea. Innovation, oftentimes people associate innovation with technology.
Yeah.
You have a whiteboard. You did a presentation with PowerPoint and it had pictures and whatever. You used artificial intelligence in an assignment, right? Like, okay, that's innovative. But you can also have innovation without the technology in just your approaches and the way you organize the lesson. It could be that you send the children out on a scavenger hunt and you say, and I don't know, like I don't know if that word, how often it's used here, scavenger hunt or a quest, una búsqueda, right? and you tell them. So, I mean, Matt, since this is an English program,
Yeah.
let me use an example. And by the way, I'm not so brilliant that I've come up with all of this by myself. I'm a good student and a good observer. And so I look at what other people do, and I notice other best practices, and I say, wow, that was brilliant. I need to do that. So if I take the example of a quest or a scavenger hunt, in an English class, you can tell whatever the vocabulary is you want the students to learn, put it in something fun, like a scavenger hunt, and say, I want you to find this. I want you to find this in your house. For homework today, instead of giving them some stupid, boring lessons, sorry, I don't mean to offend you. I've given stupid, boring lessons before. Trust me, I've done it. I've made these mistakes. But why not give them some fun, interactive thing of, and if the kids have phones, instead of seeing the phone as your enemy, say, today for the weekend homework, I want you to find, a yellow flower that's in a pot. And, I want you to take a photo of your mother cooking potatoes with, whatever. Use the vocabulary, but use it in an applied way that has relevance. And then invite them.
Instead of traditional, which is always, just read,
memorize.
Memorizing, reading.
And listen, memorization is important. We do learn a lot of this. I mean, it's important, but here's the other thing. Maybe we should try to be students and children. So I'll tell you, I've been sharing this with a few people, but I don't know. I like to be really honest about my age. So I'm 54 years old, and right now I am a student. I am a student at the university, and I've enrolled for a foreign language class, not English. What am I doing? Oh, this is crazy. I've enrolled for Ukrainian, right?
Really?
Yeah, really. Why? Ask me why. Because I don't know. Why not? There's lots of reasons. Why not is one answer. Another answer is it's cool. Another answer is research has shown that as people get older, one way to not lose your memory is to learn a new language or to practice math. So there's lots of different reasons. But another is to communicate. So as a student, I've had to learn my ABCs in another language, in another alphabet. Wow. Okay, so that's step one. Step two, it's I have to learn all this vocabulary and all this grammar. It is so hard. It's so hard, and I don't remember. There's so much I don't remember. And I can go to class and I can take a test, and maybe I can do okay, but I can't always speak, right? But speaking, even if you make a mistake,
of course,
speak, right? Practice and come up with a fun lesson so that if I like cooking, tell me to talk about cooking and I'll develop my vocabulary in another language about that. If I like music, tell me to talk or sing in another language about music, because, find out what people like and try to get them to develop their skills in that way.
I really appreciate the fact that you mentioned the word languages you learn in your other foreign languages. This is cool because we all know that integration is based on languages as well. When you easily speak other languages, integration is quite easy. And so congratulations for that.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know that I'll be fluent. I don't know.
This is not the point.
That's not the point.
No. This
That's
is not the point.
Yeah, right?
It's not the point.
So when we listen, this is an English show. And by the way, congratulations. I love this Inglés Sin Barreras. This is just spectacular. English without.
Thank you very much.
If I was an employer, if I was ConocoPhillips or something, I want Equatorial Guineans to be fluent or fluent enough to get a job and work with Americans. Fine. But for many of us, maybe, I don't know, if you're listeners, if you are my age or close to it, maybe you just want to be able to have your English be good enough that you can watch Iron Man on TV and follow the story.
Yes, of course.
And that's okay, right? And that's what is your goal?
Yes, and as you've said, when you say what is the goal? Sometimes, and unfortunately, maybe people always think about being so fluent, being I want to speak English as a native. This is not the point.
Yeah, that's not.
All you have to do is to speak.
Just
Either good or bad, just try it out.
and so for me, like, what is my goal? I'm not planning on writing a book in another language.
Yeah.
I want to be able to meet somebody in the street
Yeah.
and say, "Hi, it's great to see you. I'm so happy to see you. It's such a pleasure. Do you want to have lunch together? Let's have lunch," and have a conversation that's very basic, like over dinner. That's my goal. You know, so but why not? Why not? And so what am I trying to tell you with my own example? Force yourself to be a student again. Think of yourself like, what is it like? What if I was a student in your classroom? Would you like your classroom? Maybe you would hate your classroom. Maybe this is terrible, right? How can you make it more engaging and fun for the students? And like, I can only give ideas, but like, there may be other ideas out of that other teachers you have right here in your society. So like, making time for you to meet with other teachers and say, well, what do you do in the classroom? What do I do in the classroom? Let's compare, right? But here's what I would say. If you're teaching, so if you, September 15th, classes start, everybody, there needs to be joy in the room. There needs to be joy. And keep in mind your children. You know, one of my daughters just started a semester at the university, and the day before and the day of, she was nervous. She was scared of, what if I'm not good enough? What if I don't do well? What if and it's like, oh, I'm nervous. What about that teacher? I don't know if I made a good impression. What might the children be thinking? And so think, if you're a teacher, if you're a mother, think about that perspective, and what can we do to make them feel welcome and make them feel love, and not scare them and not make them feel like a prison, but make them feel joy so that they want to come back the next day, right?
We understand that teachers definitely have a lot to play, even institutions.